Cruise news and my views. First up, a somber tale from down under. A passenger aboard the Pacific Adventure cruise ship tragically went overboard and did not survive. The distressing incident occurred around 4 a.m. on Monday morning, Australian time. As the ship was sailing, the man somehow fell from the vessel into the waters below. A frantic search and rescue operation immediately commenced, with crews scouring the area for any sign of the missing passenger. Tragically, around 6 hours later at 10 a.m., his body was recovered from the ocean. Circumstances surrounding how he ended up overboard remain unclear as investigations continue. The Pacific Adventure is now headed back to Sydney to let passengers disembark and prepare for the next cruise. Our hearts go out to the family and all impacted by this awful loss at sea. In some exciting cruise news for West Coasters, Virgin Voyages is finally bringing their unique cruise experience to the California coast in 2026. After debuting one of their dazzling new cruise ships in New York City in September 2025, that vessel will then head west and base itself in Los Angeles for cruises along the Pacific starting in spring 2026. It's a major development for left coasters, who will now have easier access to Virgin's sleek, adult-only cruise atmosphere without having to trek across the country. No more jealously watching others experience this trendy new cruise line. However, some disappointment for Norwegian cruise line fans booked on several upcoming sailings of the Norwegian breakaway. The cruise line has made the difficult decision to cancel all port stops in Tortola, in the British Virgin Islands, for departures on May 16th, 23rd, 30th, and June 20th and 27th. Instead of a day ashore exploring Tortola's beaches, ruins, and food scene, those cruises will now substitute an extra day at Norwegian's private island Great Stirrup Cay in the Bahamas. The reasoning provided cites a variety of factors influencing the itinerary change, including fuel optimization as part of environmental sustainability efforts, as well as global maritime regulations. Reading between the lines, this appears to be a cost-saving measure for Norwegian to rein in expenses amid still high fuel prices. Cruise lines have limited control over fluctuating fuel costs, a major operating expense, so tweaking itineraries can cut down on miles traveled and make cruises more viable financially. While Great Stirrup Cay offers a classic private island experience, it's certainly a different vibe than a port stop with opportunities for cultural immersion. One can understand the disappointment of those looking forward to Tortola, who now miss out on that port-intensive experience they booked. Cruise lines constantly try to balance economics with delivering an optimal experience. In one of the Otter cruise tales, a French passenger apparently had a craving for Kobe beef, so intense, he was willing to risk it all for a taste. The unidentified 50-year-old man had boarded the MSC Bellissima cruise ship in Japan for a voyage. However, upon arriving in Kobe, something inspired this Francophile to make an incredibly ill-advised move. Rather than properly disembarking the ship during the scheduled port stop, this gentleman took the marine scaling route, literally climbing down the guide rope, tethering the ship to the pier. The risky stunt didn't go unnoticed, as another observer alerted authorities that someone appeared to be illegally departing the vessel. Whether he intended to drop into the harbor and swim to shore or just misjudged the maneuver, the man ended up falling off the guide rope and into the water anyway. He was quickly apprehended by officials, as his aquatic antics constituted an illegal entry into Japan outside of proper immigration protocols. One can only speculate what prompted such extreme actions for a mysterious boeuf bourguignon craving. Regardless, his cruise certainly came to an abrupt and unpleasant conclusion as he was detained. Finally, in a bit of cruise education, one captain provided an important PSA for passengers visiting Mexico's Ensenada region. When docking there, the captain cautioned guests against patronizing local attractions, where tourists can pay to physically interact with tiger cubs and other wild animals. Citing public health, environmental, and safety concerns, the cruise line is actively discouraging such activities involving captive big cats. The sort of reality is many of these operations are infamous for shady practices, like drugging the animals to make them docile for petting sessions. There are also frequent accusations of trading in illegally captured, mistreated wildlife and harsh living conditions once the popular cubs age out of profitable petting phases. From hazards of injuries to perpetuating cruel industries, cruise lines are realizing the risks outweigh the novelty for such unethical exhibits. That's all we've got for today. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Cruise World updates.